the best meta comp in Evil Dead the game, what is it? I'm here to tell you, and the answer might surprise you. Now, this is assuming perfect coordination between everybody. And the answer really surprises me, because I think AOD Ash, Army of Darkness Ash right here, is the best individual character in the game. I also think Evil Dead 1 Ash, after the nerf, is the individual worst character in the game. Despite that, AOD Ash is not in this meta comp, and Evil Dead 1 Ash is. So, I know that sounds crazy, but hear me out. I think that the meta composition, if you're playing to win, to stomp the demon, and you had perfect coordination, is Evil Dead 2 Ash, Ed Getley, Amanda Fisher, and Evil Dead 1 Ash. Now I'll explain to you why that is. So all your DPS is going to be from shooting. It's the best way to deal damage in this game. It deals way more damage than melee does, and as long as you're hitting your shots, it's the best way to kill things. You'll kill basics a lot faster. You'll kill bosses a lot faster. I mentioned basics because you'll see super sweaty demon players who are really, really good at the game. The meta is sort of becoming, playing especially someone like Warlord, and just spitting out basic units as fast as they can and possessing them and beefing them up with perks so much to where they have as much health as a boss unit. And even if you kill them, most of the time in solo queue, it's going to drain so many resources on the survivor side that the demons eventually win the war of attrition, and you're dead within the first 5 minutes because you've had to spend so many bullets and it's taken so much of your health to kill just basic units. By the time they finally do summon a boss, you're all but dead. So that's why I think hunters, going triple hunter, is one of the best things you can do. The reason you're taking Evil Dead 1 Ash, if you look at his abilities, number one, I think you need a support. I think you have to have a support in this composition, because the built-in support ability of being able to take a healing item and heal everybody around you is just too strong. You can't leave that off the table. So of the three supports, which one do you take? Well, I think you take Evil Dead 1 Ash, because number one, fear reduction ability is insane. That's going to help you stop from getting possessed. It's one of the single strongest things that the demon can do, and especially in a composition like this where you have three hunters, that's going to be one of their main plays, is possessing whoever your strongest hunter is and trying to down everybody with their super high damage ranged attacks. This helps stop that from happening, and assuming perfect coordination, like I'm talking about, you can all group up and every 60 seconds severely reduce your fear. That's crazy. It basically means that until very end game, nobody should ever be getting to the point where they get possessed throughout the whole match. Interestingly enough, alternative healing, where your damage is restored as health, if you were to play in this composition, you really wouldn't be using this at all. This would basically mean nothing. Like, you wouldn't ever be meleeing, really. You'd be using him for these last two abilities, which is Mark Target, which under normal circumstances, Mark Target damage and Mark Target healing, not great. Especially because, as it turns out, when Ash marks somebody, for some reason, melee blows the mark. So if you mark somebody and then another teammate comes up and melees that person, it gets rid of the mark. I don't know if that's a bug or what, but that's the way it works right now. But if you're in a composition where all your teammates are ranged characters who are going to be going for headshots, all of a sudden these two abilities that are normally bad because of that become really good. So not only do they get 30% extra damage, which is kind of whatever, like if you have three hunters, you're going to be blowing everything away instantly anyway, so the damage doesn't really matter. But what does matter is the damage restored as health. 30% damage restored as health is pretty nuts. If everybody is playing a hunter and they're all hitting headshots, that's pretty crazy. So you don't really need alternative healing, because you're just going to be healing people the basic way with shemps and amulets. and your teammates are going to be dropping Shemps and amulets for you to help you heal them throughout the match. And then if they need to heal themselves, you have marked target. And Evil Dead 1 Ash would be using just a regular pistol for this. So use a regular pistol, shoot someone in the head, mark the target, and as a support, pick up as much ammo as you can. You're kind of the pack mule of the group. You're going to be carrying a bunch of ammo. Everybody else can carry ammo as well. But for the most part, they want to drop it for their team who's going to be using it. And then Ash here is going to be the pack mule that carries like most of the ammo. He's going to be carrying all the shemps, all the amulets. Other people can carry any excess that he can't hold on to because he's full. Evil Dead 2 Ash is a big part of this. I think regardless of the composition you're running, even if you disagree with my list here, I think Evil Dead 2 is a must in every single composition. And the reason for that is his Exorcist ability. This thing is crazy, not just because you could shut down a possession of one of your teammates, but like I said, as the meta continues to develop more and more, it is becoming a thing where demon players are spamming possessed basic units, and the ability to just shut that down instantly is crazy. Now, granted, you got 3 hunters. So with 3 hunters, if all of you can hit your shots, you probably don't even need to depossess anybody because you're going to be killing everybody instantly. And if any of your teammates get possessed right away, you're going to, if everybody turns and focuses them and shoots them really quickly, they're going to get depossessed super quick. But it's just a safety net. It's there for you in case something goes wrong and your teammates are distracted and nobody's really paying attention. Oh no, here comes your Amanda's pumping you full of bullets. You need to hit a Q real quick to exorcise the demon. It's a great safety net. Obviously, you want to use him for everything else that's standard for a hunter. He has the double barrel mastery, so he's the hunter in your group that's going to be using long weapons. All 3 characters in this composition are going to be using different weapons so that you can spread ammo amongst each other. The second person in this composition is going to be Ed Getley. Very surprising, I know. But the reason you're bringing him is not just because of his It's a Trap ability, which is crazy because it's going to be shutting down traps, especially in mid-game when you do the dagger and the lost pages, which is going to really hurt the demon's ability to just not only do damage to you, but to level themselves up. But also he's a hunter, and he could do a ton of damage just like the other hunters can. But he's also great because of his collector ability. So not only are you going to get better chests, so you're going to get better loot, so you're going to do more damage, you're going to get more pink F so that you are leveled faster, which is really important because I can't hammer this home enough. As I already have 20 times in this very video, the meta is quickly becoming possessing basic units, so you need to get leveled up fast and you need to get good loot fast. But not only is it good for that, it increases the chance that defeated enemies will drop items. So one of the biggest issues with hunters is running out of ammo. Because of Ed's level 25 ability, that's going to help you not run out of ammo, and it's also going to help you keep your healer stocked up on healing supplies. So his collector ability is great for that, and he's a hunter who's going to be dealing a ton of damage. And then the last one, of course, would be Amanda. Amanda... Oh, and by the way, Ed is the one who's going to be using special weapons. So he's going to be using the blunderbuss, or if you're good with a crossbow, since he has crossbow proficiency, or crossbow weapon master, you're going to be using the crossbow on him. So any special weapon stuff, weapons, whatever you want to say, you're going to be using on Ed. And then obviously for Amanda, you're going to be using handguns. So you're going to either use the pistol or the revolver. Personally, I think you should probably use the revolver, but it's going to vary on depending on what kind of weapon you find and what rarity. So if you find a legendary revolver, take that over a white pistol. If you find a legendary pistol, obviously take that over a blue revolver. And whatever Amanda doesn't want, you should give to Evil Dead 1 Ash, because he's just going to be every now and then popping a headshot. You're communicating, you're like, hey man, I need to heal. Pop a headshot on a basic unit. Evil Dead 1 Ash doesn't do a lot of damage with range, so it shouldn't kill the basic unit in one shot, and then Amanda can finish them off with a headshot and heal herself. So that's kind of the idea behind it. So I think that using this team composition, you should pretty much never run out of ammo, because you're all pulling your resources and you're going to be getting more drops because of Ed's collector ability. If you're all maxed out, you're all going to be doing insane damage. So if you have 3 level 25 hunters all shooting at a boss, you should basically kill him within 2 seconds. And the same goes for basic units if it's the type of demon who spams those at the beginning of the match. So I think this is the best way to go. Now, quickly, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but just to talk about some of the other options here and why I didn't choose them. The most obvious one is probably Annie, because she gives a big range boost. The main reason you don't want to use her is because you don't really need bonus range damage. 3 hunters is enough to where you're going to be wiping out everything you see instantly. You don't really need that damage buff that Annie provides. And like I said, I think you need to have a support, because the inherent built-in support ability is so strong that you need to have that for your group. You don't really need a warrior, because you're not for any of them, because you're not really focusing on melee damage at all anyway. And melee damage just doesn't do as much damage as range damage does, and it's more dangerous. With hunters, you can just dodge constantly and never get hit, and you're going to be one-shotting everything. So warriors got to get in there where they can potentially get chipped by enemies, and they're not going to typically be one-shotting anything unless they find like a legendary. Hunters can one-shot things with white rarity ranged weapons. The reason I didn't take Kelly is because she's kind of a weird hybrid where she's half good at really good at ranged, half really good at melee. We don't need somebody who's good at melee. We're not going to be meleeing at all with this team composition, so we don't really care about her meat hammer weapon master. We don't care about her final ability that makes it so she has ramping damage while in combat. One important thing to note is that evidently right now Kelly is bugged to where her ramping melee damage is also applying to her range damage. So because of that, she's better than Amanda, because she's bugged. But I assume that's not intended, because the description of her ability says it's not intended. It's supposed to be for melee damage, not ranged. So assuming that gets fixed, I think Amanda's better for dealing damage. And then obviously you need Evil Dead 2 Ash and Ed instead, because you need Ed's collector ability to keep the team stocked up, and you need Evil Dead 2 Ash's exorcism ability in order to stop possessions, because with an all hunter comp, the number one thing that's going to hurt you is possessions. And then as far as supports go, I think Evil Dead 1 Ash is the best because of his marked target, because you're using a hunter's comp mostly for the damage being restored as health, like we talked about. And then obviously fear reduction is huge in an all hunter comp. Cheryl and Pablo, Cheryl obviously specializes in healing, but Ash can do enough healing for your team if you're pooling resources, so you don't really need the benefit of something like Cheryl's Q. And then Pablo crafting amulets is great, but his main draw is the fact that he can run off on his own in the beginning of the match, and I don't think you really want to do that if you're having perfect coordination. You don't need a Pablo who runs off and does the 3 map pieces by himself. So I think Evil Dead Ash just has more synergy with a 3 hunter comp. So I think Evil Dead 1 Ash is probably better for this composition. So I know I'm going to get a million comments disagreeing with me and telling me why I'm wrong. Feel free to post them. Let me know what you think your meta composition is in Evil Dead the game. But please be nice about it. People get real emotional when it comes to what you say is meta and what isn't. But let me know. Certainly there are other compositions that are really good. You could do AOD Ash. You could do Scotty, Henry the Red, and Arthur, just like an all melee composition. Probably can't go wrong with that. That's probably devastating. I just think in terms of optimal power, if you were in some weird Evil Dead tournament and you were playing as super sweaty as possible, I think that composition that I just presented is the best composition you could possibly have. And with perfect coordination, I don't think there's any way the demon could ever beat that. But let me know in the comments what you think. Hey, thanks for watching. Hey, and don't forget to subscribe, folks.